Yes, indeed. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Footy Show. We are slap bang in the middle of one of the most unbelievable final series of all time. Needs to be a very, very big story to upstage that series, and that story is broken today. Extraordinary circumstances, Jim. About 5 o'clock today, the Fremantle Footy Club sacked Mark Harvey as the coach with a year to run on his contract.
And if that isn't extraordinary enough, we heard about an hour after that Ross Lyon has walked out of the St Kilda Football Club with a year to run on his contract and has accepted a 5-year deal to coach the Fremantle Dockers for what we understand are astronomical numbers.
It is. As long as we've been doing this show, we've never had a circumstance that's unfolded in the last 4 or 5 hours. We've got people all over the place. Damien Barrett's been on this story all afternoon. He'll update us very shortly with all of the news. We've got Craig Hutchison down at St Kilda House to get the reaction from them. A board meeting underway. They are absolutely shocked and stunned at the moment, and we also have a man over in Perth that we're going to cross who has spent the day with Mark Harvey, having breakfast this morning, oblivious to what was about to happen. Unbelievable stuff.
All right, so all of that is just minutes away. Before we get to it, though, we have got big superstars on the show tonight. You're going to love it, everyone in the audience and you at home. Harry Kewell, arguably Australia's best ever soccer player. Who's going to be in? Shane Warne, arguably Australia's greatest ever cricketer, is going to be here. And we hear from Brian Lake for the first time from the Western Bulldogs, so lots of big stars.
This Mark Harvey and Ross Lyon story continues to develop. It's breaking news everywhere. We're going to get started. Let's jump into it. An unbelievable day in football, enormous news, and we're going to get to it right off the top. But before we do that, a man who doesn't know what's going on. He's just sat back in the last couple of hours scratching his head. He's oblivious to it all, but please welcome him, the 300-game superstar from Geelong, John Sammy Newman.
No, we've just got to move on. I don't think it gets any bigger than this, Gaz.
It doesn't.
Dave Gallup, you know who Dave is. He said we were terrorists because we are passionate. Why wouldn't we be passionate? We got the best soccer player in Australia playing in Melbourne. We got the best cricketer in Australia who is in Melbourne and going to be on the show. We got the best rugby league side in Australia in Melbourne. And we got the best AFL team currently, because Collingwood are the premiers currently. We've got the best AFL. We are the best in Melbourne. Why wouldn't we be passionate and why wouldn't we be terrorists?
We are sure with that, but we are passionate. We're passionate about footy. We've also got the best news team in the business here at the Footy Show, and they've been all over this developing story. As I said off the top of the show, Mark Harvey, coach of the Fremantle Footy Club, sacked today around 5 o'clock with a year to go on his contract. Let's go to the man who's been across this and will update us to the minute. Damien Barrett, the newsbreaker. The story's come from nowhere, Damo. It has just caught everyone on the hop. When did you first get wind of this, and talk us through the events that have unfolded today?
Got wind early in the week that Mark Harvey was under pressure, Gaz, but certainly not the Ross Lyon angle that you've just announced there today. So there's so many places we could start with this story, so we may as well start with the man who's been sacked, that being Mark Harvey. Today, as recently as 4 o'clock, he had no idea what was about to hit him. He had been involved in list management discussions with other assistant coaches. It was about this time that he was told, we believe by Steve Rossich, the CEO, and the footy operations manager, Chris Bond, that he would not be coaching Fremantle next year. He did ask the question, who would be, was not told. He had his own suspicions and was told not long after that it could well be Ross Lyon. He, right now, is in tears. He's declined, as you would understand, an interview to come on with the Footy Show, in tears tonight, and just does not know how this has happened. From there, we might as well go back to Ross Lyon and St Kilda. As we know, St Kilda has been saying things all week about them wanting to keep him for next year. They considerably upped their offer to Ross Lyon yesterday. They increased it to 4 years. It was going to be a new deal, torn up the old one, which initially took in next year. They tore that up, offered him a new deal. 2012, 13, 14, 15, more money, more years, and unconditional, no get-out clauses for either party. They felt it was an offer that he could not refuse and that he would accept, and up till 5:30 this afternoon, they felt he was going to be accepting this offer. It was at that time that he told the CEO, Michael Nettlefold, that he would be quitting the club. The question was asked, where was he going? He did not tell them. They then had their own suspicions that it was Fremantle. Since that point, it's all come together. Mark Harvey, with 1 year of a contract to run at Fremantle, sacked. Ross Lyon, with 1 year of an old contract at St Kilda and a fresh 4-year deal on the table, has quit to go to Fremantle.
But blindsided everywhere here. Ross Lyon and Mark Harvey both managed by Elite Sports Properties.
Gary, it's just so many extraordinary elements of this tale, and there's deception everywhere, and that is not too strong a word. And with the introduction here of Elite Sports Properties to this discussion tonight, even yourself, you're managed by Elite Sports Properties. St Kilda had its own suspicions that things were going on between Melbourne. We'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. Mark Harvey, Ross Lyon, Gary Lyon, all managed by Elite Sports Properties. Tonight, they've given this statement to the Footy show, Elite Sports Properties, that Ross Lyon informed Elite Sports Properties of his decision to resign from the St Kilda Football Club and of his recent discussions with another AFL football club. Even Elite Sports Properties did not know where he was going. Given that ESP has not been privy to any of these discussions, a decision has been made to cease our management relationship with Ross.
Good heavens.
Clearly, they could not be privy, and were not privy to this conversations their own client, Ross Lyon, had been having with Fremantle Footy Club.
It's an unbelievable situation. We're going to dissect this, yes, Samuel?
There's got to be some deeper reason.
Yeah, well, we might get
why
to
he
that.
has left.
We might get to that. We're going to thrash this all out, so don't go anywhere. I mean, as Damien said off the top, this story can go a number of ways. Craig Hutchison also been across this. He joins us now live from the St Kilda training base down at Seaford. Hutchie, a board meeting being called. What's happening down there?
Well, Gary, it was a bombshell that hit St Kilda from nowhere and rocked it to its core tonight. There was a standard and monthly board meeting held right behind me at 5:30 this evening. The first hour of discussions were cordial and convivial, and indeed the CEO, Michael Nettlefold, was telling the board that things were going well. They thought they had their man just 3 hours ago. They took a call, Michael Nettlefold, the CEO, during that board meeting tonight, and was told by Ross Lyon that he was going. He didn't want to talk about where or why, and he'd tell them more tomorrow. That man there is Michael Nettlefold. He's been working the phones just 15 metres behind me for the last 4 hours. Shocked, he can't work it out, furrowed brow as you can see, and they have been on the rebound and on the back foot completely, as I said, blindsided, certain only 3 hours ago or 4 hours ago that they had their man. In fact, the board meeting was going swimmingly. Since then, the board meeting was cancelled abruptly, and Michael Nettlefold, the CEO, remains behind me, just in that office there, working the phones, trying to make sense of what has happened. Now, St Kilda released a statement around about an hour ago, and it reads as follows. Ross Lyon this evening has informed the St Kilda Footy Club he will not be seeing out his existing contract until the end of 2012. Lyon also advised that they would not be accepting the new unconditional 4-year offer to coach the Saints until 2015. The St Kilda Football Club is disappointed that Ross Lyon will not be continuing as senior coach. Until this evening, the club was engaged in constructive discussions, the Saints say, with Lyon's management about his long-term future at the Saints. St Kilda Football Club assistant coach Robert Harvey will assume responsibilities on an interim basis. That revelation is extraordinary in itself. They're not in season, Gary. I don't think we've ever seen anyone appoint an interim coach out of season. It smacks of amateurism and knee-jerk reaction from a club that didn't see it coming and felt the need to put a replacement into a job that doesn't need doing for another 5 or 6 weeks. Further to this, the former coach, Grant Thomas, who was sensationally sacked here several years ago, I spoke to him moments ago. Tomo said, St Kilda has a history of inventing ways to stuff things up. He went on to say he was gutted, extremely concerned about the ongoing viability of the football club, and that if they wanted Ross Lyon, they'd been negligent in their duties and responsibilities to now into convincing him they did want him, and he feels that Ross Lyon felt unwanted, and that they did want him, they must have Mick Malthouse secured and announced in the next 24 hours. Now that obviously hasn't happened, but that raises the question of whether that's St Kilda's get out of jail card, because only Mick Malthouse would save the repair of their public position from now. They're 5 weeks behind everyone else in the search for a coach. There's 3 competitors already in the market. Their move here to Seaford's been an unpopular one, and St Kilda tonight has lost the one man they had faith in rebuilding this football club into the future. And it's a club that can't quite get its head around what's happened today. Surely the biggest day in coaching sacking since Malcolm Blight, and possibly as far back as Norm Smith.
Hutchie, we appreciate that. We know you're going to keep working the phones and rejoin us if you hear anything new. You got a feel for the St Kilda fans who are sitting back tonight. They've lost a man who's taken them to 3 grand finals in the past couple of years, Damo. Is there anything else? Have we been able to glean anything else? Ross Lyon, we believe, gone to ground right now. Can't track him down at all. Is there anything that has emerged as to the reasons, anything concrete as to why he's left St Kilda?
Well, given he failed to tell his own management group, he's clearly been working behind the scenes for some time. The talk tonight is that conversations may well have been going on for up to a month with the Dockers, and that we're pretty reliably informed that the appointment by St Kilda of Chris Pelkin to the role of list manager, in a role that Ross Lyon was not aware of before the announcement of Chris Pelkin as that man. He was the man largely instrumental in putting the Hawthorn premiership list together. Massive dispute between, I suppose, the separation of powers. He was ahead of Ross Lyon in the hierarchy. And Ross Lyon did not like that. Now, that has emerged. It had emerged at the time. It's now emerged tonight as a very serious issue with what Ross Lyon's been going through.
All right, well, Mark Harvey finds himself out of a job with a year to go on his contract. Quite an extraordinary situation for that man to be going through. And Michael Roberts, funnily enough, former star of the St Kilda Footy Club himself, has been with Mark Harvey all day in Perth, and we cross to Robbo now. Robbo, just talk us through the emotions that Mark Harvey's gone through in the last 4 or 5 hours.
Amazing, JB, and the fact that I met him for breakfast at 9:30 down at Cottesloe, and we sat there and he was cheery. He was going to a list management meeting. He was talking about the fact that he was going to get his 16 players that had operations or going to have operations over the pre-season back. He was looking forward to the year. And we sat there for an hour and a half, and you couldn't get a more positive person with regards to his role as a coach, a senior coach of the Fremantle Footy Club. My parting words to him was, keep your chin up and everything will be okay. He turned around to me and said, and I know that he said to me, I was involved with the AFL Coaches Association. Danny Frawley and Paul Armstrong have done a fantastic job there. He said, we need their support. It's fantastic to have them. About 3 hours later, he rings me and says, guess what? I need the AFL Coaches Association behind me because I've just been sacked by the Fremantle Football Club and Ross Lyon is in. I was staggered. I got him to repeat it 3 times because he does joke around a bit. That's exactly what he said. I've been sacked, Ross Lyon in. I couldn't believe it. He was really anxious and really disappointed. And then, you know, Mark, once he gets on a roll, he becomes pretty angry. So he's gone to ground. But I just spoke to him about an hour ago. He said that he will come out and say something to the media. He also said that there must have been an enormous amount of pre-planning behind his back for this to unfold with Ross going in and him coming out. But he just wants to be left alone and for everyone to respect his privacy and the family and with Donna as well, because this is massive. This was like a tsunami. This smashed him in the back of the head and he had no idea that this was coming. Unreal, unbelievable stuff over here.
Robbo, we're going to talk about that and how long this has been in place and how much planning actually had been done. I'll put that to Damien Barrett in a moment. But you've spoken to him recently. We asked for an interview and we can understand that he wasn't prepared to talk, but got highly emotional, we believe, later this evening.
Really emotional, Gary. So much so, as I said, I had the first conversation. I've spoken to him 3 times on the phone. And he was fuming at the start and then got really disappointed and emotional on the second one because it just kicked in. It was a reality. As I said, this snuck up on him like cancer and hit him in the back of the head. And he was, you know, halves, he's just up and about and ready to go and he was so looking forward to it. And then the footy club have turned around and done this. Apparently he was in the meeting, got taken out and got told, and he said, you are gone immediately. Don't come back. That's it. And then I said to him, are you for real? And he said, Harvey out, Ross Lyon in.
Robbo, we appreciate that, mate. You just happen to be on the spot, so we appreciate you joining us tonight. Michael Roberts over there in Perth, having spent the morning with Mark Harvey, who was planning for the season ahead. The suggestion, Damo, that this must have been some weeks in the making is an extraordinary one.
Well, it is, and we need to get this out of Ross Lyon. He'll be appointed officially as coach tomorrow by the Dockers. It will be announcement sometime in the afternoon in Perth, and those questions need to be put because, as we said, Craig Kelly, his manager at ESP, did not have any idea. Gaz, we need to now also look at Melbourne's involvement with Ross Lyon. There's been a lot of talk that there was a 5-year deal on the table. Now, not everyone was going with this story. You, obviously, in charge of Melbourne and finding a replacement for its coach for next year, having sacked Dean Bailey. what was Melbourne's involvement with Ross Lyon? Because that St Kilda was convinced, and the reason it upped its offer to Ross Lyon was because they felt Melbourne had done that.
Yeah, and happy to talk about it now, Damo, because Ross Lyon's off the table. So I just want to be really clear about this. There was never an offer put to Ross Lyon from the Melbourne Footy Club. We've never spoken to Ross Lyon. I've never spoken to Ross Lyon. The only extent of the conversation has been with Craig Kelly, his management, and it was as simple as this. It was, if Ross is available to talk, then we'd be interested in talking to him. There was never an offer put to him. We respected that he was going through the process with the St Kilda Footy Club, and my ongoing conversation with Craig Kelly was always, if it gets to the stage where that breaks down, they don't get a deal done, we would be interested to have a chat, just an initial chat, a sounding out, as we have done with a number of other coaches, and that was it. And I think the fact that I haven't commented on the coaching situation over the past 3 or 4 weeks, people have taken that as some sort of confirmation that it must be happening. Nothing could be further from the truth. This 5-year, $5 million offer is fanciful, and I was sitting there for 3 weeks just laughing behind my back thinking, how does this get out of control?
Can I ask you this?
Yep.
Is this a classic case of nice guys come second? Maybe Ross Lyon was the man you did want if he was available, but Fremantle usurped you and got in ahead of you.
Well, I was never certain enough to be able to do that, Samuel. He was a man that I would have been happy to sit down and talk through and talk about his philosophies on footy, his coaching method,
Maybe
the way he handled it. No, nothing further from the truth. We were happy to do that. As far as we were concerned from a management point of view, the deal was going to get done with the St Kilda Footy Club, and I think when you find Craig Kelly and ESP would tell you that as well. That is why they are in shock tonight as well, blindsided, and they've terminated the contract with Ross Lyon. So I'll just be really clear about that. We didn't speak to Ross Lyon. We were happy to talk to him if it ever got to that stage. No deal ever put on the table. That's been a joke that's run out of control over the past couple of weeks.
And Damo, how long has this been going on? A really interesting, a man who's actually coming on this show a little later on, Dermot Brereton, said on the Sunday Footy Show, when Ross Lyon got all his players in at the end of that game, he said that man's leaving that club. I remember him saying, and we all looked at him and said, you know, what are you talking about? He said, I'm telling you, that man there is leaving that club. Yeah. Quite an incredible thing if this has been going on for 6 or 7 weeks, while he's still trying to coach a team to play well in the final series.
Yeah, the talk tonight is, JB, that it's at least 4 weeks, it may be 5, maybe 6. I think we owe it, we do owe it to Ross to a point to tell us tomorrow at the press conference at Fremantle as to how long it's gone.
What does this mean for the other clubs?
Well, that's it. I mean, until today there were three clubs without a coach. What we also know today, and this has a mistake, Mark Neeld is up to his eyeballs in every single one of those 3 jobs. Adelaide, it's between him and Scott Burns, and it is honestly a toss of the coin there. Mark Bickley is still in the race there, JB, but a distant third as far as we can tell. Interestingly, he has been spoken to by Melbourne as well. Now, we'll stop there for a moment. On Melbourne, now that Ross Lyon is clearly out of the picture, and Gary just said that there was a conversation of something without any offer, the talk is that Scott Burns is now the front runner for that job with Neil Craig, the sacked Adelaide coach, as his offsider, his right-hand man. And Gaz, we need to go to you on that too, because that is the strong talk tonight, that Scott Burns, currently with West Coast, former Collingwood player, captain, is that man.
We have no front runner, and we'll continue to do what we've been doing for the past 3 weeks. Now, I don't want this to get into a situation that we had with Ross Lyon when I'm not talking about it, and you can jump up and down, Sam, all you want. You know I'm consistent with that. You can take that as a denial or a confirmation. I don't really mind, but we're not commenting any further. But there's no front runner for the Melbourne Footy Club.
I'm not jumping up and down.
Well, you usually have.
No, I'm not. But
no,
maybe you should try and snare someone before
hang on.
They're not available as well.
Can I just say this? We are absolutely confident in where we are at in the search for an AFL coach for the Melbourne Footy Club. Absolutely confident, and I've heard Mike Sheen say they're worried that they're going to get left behind. James even alluded to yesterday that you continue to go after people you don't get. We've not gone after anyone that we haven't got. Yes, we're very, very interested in Alistair Clarkson, happy to say that.
And can you now confirm that was a 6-year offer?
Alistair Clarkson got the deal done with the Hawthorn Footy Club, so that's good. We're not missing out. We're not missing out on anyone. We are absolutely on a path for a coach, Samuel. So let's make... And the only thing that's important is for the Melbourne Footy Club people to realise that we are absolutely on track. Absolutely.
So St Kilda, Damo, what does it mean for them? Because as Hutchie said, they're coming into this race 5 weeks behind everyone else.
Yeah, it does. And they need to get in the race tomorrow, even tonight. They need to make a call to Scott Burns. He holds the key, I believe, to the Adelaide job and the Melbourne job. Western Bulldogs today had their some form of final interviews with leading candidates. Mark Neild was spoken to today in a final presentation sense. I believe Paul Williams, as we speak, is being interviewed in a final presentation sense. Brendan McCartney has been spoken to there as well, interviewed very, very well. He's in the mix as well. And of course, Leon Cameron, the front runner from day one of this coach search at the Bulldogs, is also there. Those four names, Paul Williams, Brendan McCartney, Mark Neild and Leon Cameron, all in the mix for the Bulldogs' jobs. Leon Cameron's still the favourite there, but again, Mark Neild in the running for all three, and Scott Burns the key to particularly Melbourne and Adelaide at this stage.
It's been comprehensive, and as we said, this will continue to develop throughout the course of the evening, and as further news comes to hand, we'll get back to Damo or to Hutchie. Believe it or not, we're down to 6 for the race for the AFL Premiership, ladies and gentlemen. A final series that we need to talk about. We've got big names coming out to do just that, and in the world of sport, they don't get any bigger than Harry Kewell and Shane Warne. They still to come on the Footy Show.
Thanks to Crazy Johns and Nissan Navara, of course, great friends of ours. Time to get the panel involved in this show, and it is a big one. We have, of course, from the Western Bulldogs, recently retired goal-kicking superstar. Make him very welcome. Barry Hall's here with us. And making his Footy Show debut from the barnstorming Cats, Premiership defender Andrew Mackie. Good-looking boy. And speaking of barnstorming, the Magpies' big power forward, Travis Clough.
Good to have you boys. Two boys still very much in the hunt for this year's premiership, and a man that's just kicking back, relaxing. We're going to get to Barry Hall in a moment, but just a round of applause. First time on the Footy Show, Andrew Mackie. Big night to come in. Good to have you, mate. Form line very good. The Cats got the job done very, very nicely last Friday night.
Yeah, look, it's obviously good to win that first final, and like Clokey be sitting here tonight and have the weekend off.
What's the training load been like this week? I mean, do you continue having a full week?
Yeah, we've had today was a solid day. Tomorrow we'll ramp it right up again. Probably recover a bit over the weekend and look forward to a normal week next week.
And you've held us back, Jimmy. He's held us back for a while on the Footy Show as Andrew Mackie, good-looking young man, not lacking in confidence. I just want to read this from Stevie Johnson. This was a tweet he sent out at 6:30 tonight. Looking forward to watching Fangs Mackie on the Footy Show tonight. Quoted as saying today, "I'm the most polished media act at the club."
You don't believe that, do you?
Is there any truth in that at all?
Nah, mate. Look, Jono's good like that, but just watch the fangs off. Bit touchy about them.
Now, Andy, I'm going to give you a hand with the answers because we don't want you to put your foot in it. So this would be the answer to my question. Yes, it'll be a very, very awkward situation. I suppose it's going to be difficult to replace Daniel Menzel.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Look, he's been great for us, kicking goals, and look, he gave a new dimension. He could play tall, could play small, and he's going to be a massive loss. And it's up to someone else to come and play that position.
Jerry.
Yeah, he's off to a flyer.
Polished act.
Yep.
And a man who's come to the end of what has been a glittering career is Barry Hall, of course, the champ. Went out in the best possible style, Vaz. I think 5 5s and a 6 in your last 7 weeks of playing. So it's not like you crawled out of the game. It was a terrific finish for you.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly how you want to finish. I think it was a bit of a dream run in the end. I think I didn't get a kick for 3 quarters and then turned on in the end, so I was lucky. But mate, a great way to go out of the game, and as I said, if you can plan it, that's how you do it.
It's the obvious question, Bazza, you've been asked 100 times, but a new coach comes in and he knocks on the door. Is there any chance at all of him resurrecting this great career of yours?
No, there's no chance. Look, I think I've mentally moved on from footy. Physically, I think I could probably still do it, but mentally, I'm done. I've got other things to think about now.
Didn't take you long to bang a book out, mate. You've just got the book straight out. You have. Give us its name. Punch and what is it?
Pulling no punches.
Pulling no punches. That's right.
Yeah, we've got the book tour at the moment, so
The book tour.
yeah,
I
bit of a
see.
signing tour, so it's going to keep me busy for a while.
My wordy
And speaking of pulling no punches, we understand you've had the gloves on already.
Yeah, how'd you know that?
A little bird told all of us that you might have just pulled them on. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh, look, I'm just keeping fit at the moment.
Any thoughts of any more than that, Barry?
Look, I'm just going to do a bit of training and see how things pan out, but I'm playing out in 2 weeks with all the alcohol and all that sort of stuff, so I thought I'd get in the gym and work a bit off.
How often, Bazza, are you getting in the ring?
I've only done it twice, and that was 3 days ago, and I'm still sore, so I think...
Not as
I'm a
sore
long
as
way
whoever
off.
ends up in the ring with you, I wouldn't have thought.
It's great to have you on tonight, mate. We're going to have a look at the games in a minute, and a man that has got a big role to play, not this week, but in the next couple of weeks, is Travis Cloak, who also joins us. Welcome, Trav. Hey, guys. Mate, you had to work very, very hard against the West Coast Eagles, who came at you hard late in that game.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah, compared to when we played them earlier in the year, they came out, chucked everything at us, and yeah, we were lucky to get over it in the end.
Had some good players to contend with too. Mackenzie and Glass, I think on yourself and Dawes, two of the best power forwards in the comp, and both of them held their own pretty well.
Yeah, they did fantastic. They for sure beat me. They knocked me around and took me into the cleaners. So yeah, very glad to get away with the win, but yeah, the rest of the boys did fantastic.
Now, Trav, I don't think you've looked back since the FARC truck.
Very true.
The FARC truck came down to your training grounds there, and you've been dead-eyed Dick, haven't you, since?
Yeah, I've been whipping the headphones in and giving them a go. I had a bad week in there, so I went back to the training track, put the headphones
Went
in.
through my notes and just calmed yourself
Yeah, it
and
seems to be
thought of
working.
nice, positive things.
Fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a winner, that.
I know
year.
it has. That's why we've dropped off it the last 4 or 5 weeks. What happens this weekend? You're not playing any footy. Do you get along tomorrow night, the game at the MCG?
Yeah, so we had today off. Tomorrow's going to be a pretty big session, I'd say, and recovery Saturday morning and rest of Saturday afternoon, Sunday off. But yeah, majority of the boys are getting there on Friday night to watch and see who we come across next
A
Friday
little
night.
bit of tension. You noticed Mick, the coach, just getting more tense as we get towards the end of maybe his tenure of office or just maybe the end of the year?
No, he's pretty relaxed at the moment.
Relaxed,
He's getting around the boys, having a bit of a laugh and a giggle, which is good, and we don't really see that side of Mick very often.
No, you must get a photograph of him giggling one day and
try.
send it in.
Baz, Greater West Sydney, just before we let you go, any contact from them at all? There was a whisper that they might just at least try you with a phone call?
Oh, there was contact, but as I said, I was...
After the season?
yeah, after the season, but as I said, mentally I'm switched off now and I'll remain that way.
All right, boys, we want you to switch on to this game. It's the big final tomorrow night at the MCG. Hawthorn taking on the Sydney Swans. Huge game. The Hawks third on the ladder, 18 wins, 4 losses. Went down to the Cats last week by 31 points. And the big news, of course, is that Buddy Franklin, a man that hurt his knee and came off the ground, looked like he was out for a year, has been named in the Hawthorn lineup. And interestingly, Luke Bruce, who's been an excellent performer, is one of the emergencies. They've been in good form, the Hawks. They come up against another side in very good form, the Sydney Swans. 7th on the ladder. They rolled St Kilda by 25 points, an enormous occasion because one of the greatest footballers, I think, to play the game in the last 25 years, Adam Goods, celebrating game number 300, if you don't mind, on Friday night. So, well done to them. It's an intriguing matchup, Trav. You are going to play the winner of this two side. I'm not sure whether you'll tell us who you hope to play, but who are you liking?
Yeah, I think Sydney are going to win, actually. If Buddy plays or not, I think Sydney will get up. And I read an interesting one today that Sydney actually haven't beat Hawthorn at the MCG since 2007, but I think it's going to happen tomorrow night.
And Mac, you've just seen them firsthand, the Hawks. Can they bounce back?
Yeah, they can, mate. They're a great side, and great sides always bounce back. But can't underestimate Sydney in milestone games. So yeah, it's a chance to be a draw, but I'll just go to Sydney.
What do you think, Baz, when you see Buddy Franklin and what he did to his knee? Is he any chance of playing?
I think he'll play, which is going to be a massive in for them.
This was him at training today at the MCG.
Yeah, look, I think that if he can get up and play, he takes the best defender, so that's a positive to start with. Look, Sydney last week, it was just vintage Sydney. I think they stepped up for finals, and with Goodsy in his 300th, I reckon they'll turn on for him.
They've got a great record of getting up for milestones or big occasions, of course. They're a tight side. Samuel, you cast your eye over Buddy Franklin. Now, Bazza thinks he plays, which I find surprising. What do you think?
Well,
You take the
my
risk?
tip will be depending entirely on whether he plays or not. If he plays, I think they might win, and if he doesn't play, they won't win. But it was an Herculean effort by the Swans to beat St Kilda. But in the light of what's been going on, it might have just been a routine win by the Swans, because I don't know how many people's hearts were in that game for the Saints. Oh. And I'm not identifying individuals. I'm just saying if there was that much uncertainty going on around there, how can a club function? But I would think, I'm saying, if Buddy Franklin plays, I reckon he might be the difference, and if he doesn't, the Swans. So I know that's not a tip, but if you want to just wait and see who's in and who's out, well, that's my tip.
All right, well, I think Hawthorn will win regardless. I think it's going to be a great game of footy. I'm not being condescending, I've got great respect for the Sydney Swans, but I think Hawthorn's form through the years has been wonderful. Mitchell was quiet, Rioli was quiet, I reckon Hodge will be better, so I think the Hawks might get over the top of the Swans in a low-scoring affair.
All right, let's get to a break because we have massive superstars and more news coming up on the Footy Show. Next, we speak to one of the greatest cricketers the game has ever seen, Shane Warne. Stick around.
We are only 2 weeks away from a massive grand final show, and how's this for a lineup? Simple Plan will perform their smash hit Jet Lag. Vanessa Amorosi debuts with her new song Amazing. Eskimo Joe will be belting out Love Is a Drug, and The Living End will blow the roof off Rod Laver Arena with 2 live performances. Add in the massive Dulux Grand Final review, the best of Street Talk, and our Footy Legends winners. It's going to be huge. You can catch all the action at the special time of 8:30 on Thursday, September 29. And on the morning of the big one, don't miss Channel 9's Grand Final Breakfast, live from the Palladium at Crown. Hosted by Tony Jones, who'll be joined by Shannon Knoll, and soul sensation Jack Vidgen. The Footy Show boys will be there, and stand up from Dave O'Neill. Nine's Grand Final Breakfast, brought to you by MC Labour Services, live on 9 from 9am.
There's only 1 week left for you to sit in the best seats in the house. The Nissan Navara Power Seat. Simply visit our website, footyshow.com.au. Tell us in 25 words or less the most powerful thing you've ever done, and you could be sitting where these people are sitting, all thanks to Australia's most powerful tradie, the Nissan Navara. Now, tonight's winner, Paul Strangus, and Paul partially dislocated his shoulder going into a penalty shootout, obviously playing soccer, had it punched back into place, lethal weapon style, by the goalkeeper, and his side went on to win. So well done to you, Paul. That's why you're sitting in the power seats.
That was the wrong story.
And just a reminder, Harry Kilgary is not far away for fans of the round ball game.
And as is Shane Warne, who's about to join us very, very shortly. But before Warne gets out of here, we must get through more of this great segment. It's called Sam's Mailbag.
Yes. Sort of a squatting ovation, that, Gary. But this will pale into insignificance. I tell you what I'm going to do, Gary. I think you've had a torrid week. Mark Harvey, as I understand, is a dear friend of yours. That must have shaken you to your boots.
I'm not sure.
And I know you'll be going to announce I think you're going to announce the contenders for Melbourne Football Club coach later on in the evening, aren't you?
Yeah, no, not tonight.
Oh, all right. So I know I'm not going to do a whole lot of jokes about you.
Good.
I'm going to cut you some slack.
Good. Get on with it.
Barry's going to do them. So come over here. Come over here, mate. Sit down there. It's going to be good. What? Go on, throw to him. Say, here's Barry.
All right.
Go on.
Time now for Barry's mailbag.
Thanks, guys. Well, it's been a bit of a morbid start to the show, so let's have a bit of fun with a bit of a look-alike.
That's it.
First, we've got Stacey from Druin. Apparently, this is Gary in the future.
There it is. Look at that. Silverback.
Oh, that is
I like it.
I love it. I'm going to laugh at Barry's jokes, don't worry about that.
I would suggest you do.
Good one, Basil.
No, look,
I like
that's,
it, Baz.
that's the last one we got in terms of Gary. But we got Enoch from Camberwell. Enoch, can you believe that?
Yeah.
This is the new Demons Clash jumper with Gary Lyon in charge.
There it is. Nice one.
Oh, good one, yeah. I like that one, Foss.
This is really crisp.
No, I like that one.
Barry,
Gary, this is the last one.
sensational, mate. This is
the last one.
This is as good as we've done.
Last time we got is Lance from Horsham.
Ooh.
And this is Gary living it up on Mad Monday.
If you want to be a part of this unbelievable segment, this is how you do it, Paz. I thought it was brilliant. GPO Box 9,
Brilliant.
Melbourne, Victoria 3001.
Gary.
Or sams.mailbag@9.com.au or footyshow.com.au.
How good's that?
But the 2 hours you work a week and the one
Fan.
segment that you've got, you've handed it over to Barry, have you?
Well, mate, he couldn't do it any better than I. That was fantastic.
Mind you,
Well
he
done,
was succinct, Baz.
Yeah, what he was. What he was, Samuel, what he was very quick and to the point, and that's what we like about the mailbag. It didn't go on for 10 or 15 minutes.
He got in and out of the jokes sharply.
And delivered them nicely with good timing.
All right, then.
Okay,
Well, don't
so
overdo it.
We'll sit you down.
Get yourself seated, Samuel,
Yes,
because we
this
need...
is where you shine.
Shut up.
We need to get this man out. Now, I reckon we've introduced him 3 or 4 times on the Footy Show, Gary, and every time we do, we dive back into statistics and then realise there are that many of them, it's actually a pointless exercise. The best bowler Australia's ever produced, and you could argue very strongly the best cricketer Australia has ever produced. Please make him welcome Shane Warne.
Sam Newman, and you are? Is that you?
Shane. Sam.
Shane, is it?
Yes, how are you?
My God, that's him. Of course. Now, look, we're only joking, Shane.
Thank you.
You've taken a bit of a pasting.
You think so?
No, I'm not saying that.
Have you been giving me a pasting? You've been looking
Not
after
at
me,
all,
Sam?
mate, because I'm seeing you here, and I can tell that what has been scurrilous chat about you having mechanical application to your face is just not right, Gary. I can tell, and I'm an expert at it. I know someone. I know someone who's had a little bit of work done, and I can tell at an instant.
Right.
What do you think, Sam?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Thank you, Sam. Well, I haven't. So it's not that difficult if you haven't. I just haven't.
You had a gutful of it all, Warne? People
Yes.
prodding you about that sort of stuff?
Well, at the end of the day, I suppose if someone wants to do something to their face or whatever, let them go and do it. And if I had, I'd say, I've had it done, Sam.
That's right. And
But I haven't had it done, so it's actually a bit annoying, to be honest. It's just a lot of rubbish, and they just seem to keep going on about it. So move on. I think it bores the absolute crap out of everyone, including me.
I know, mate. We like talking about it, don't we? and incidentally, where in the world would you go to try and have it done in a clandestine fashion that it wouldn't leak out and someone know that you had it done?
Or that I was commentating for 5 days in a row, have a couple of days off and commentate 5 days, or play an IPL game every second day. I'm not sure I could actually just nip into the hospital. How long does it take, Sam?
I'm going to ask the person I know that had it done, and I'll get back to you. Now, I'm not going to show you this photo to embarrass you, but it was a concerted effort by the press to manipulate a photograph that said that was you with either work done or you've done something, and you've got you. Yeah,
That looks like me, don't you think?
well, it looks like me. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like you, but that is a direct attempt to try and intimidate you into saying that you've had something done. That is ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, look, it's just not... well, it is me walking out of the house, but I don't know what they've done. And it's just one thing I looked at, legally. When I got back to Australia 3 weeks ago, I looked at some of these pictures, and because I was starting to struggle about why people are starting to rip into me saying I had all this work done when I'm on TV over in England. And then I saw a couple of these pictures, and I thought, holy... like, it's not me. So then I went and saw some legal people about, is it actually against the law to Photoshop photos or to airbrush them or do whatever they want to do, and it is. So I don't want to go down the legal route, and hopefully it stops, but it's just not fair to everyone to see those pictures and to put them out there. It's just not right.
Because, Warnie, that was the reaction, wasn't it? When they went to print, a lot of people who hadn't seen you for a while because you've been overseas looked at them and went, Christ, have a look at Shane.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is just, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they've obviously, like, I haven't got a line on my face, for starters. I look like I'm a dwarf or something as well. I'm not sure. Someone's cut my legs off too.
Is it worse in London or here? Where do you think you misrepresented most? Hounded the most even?
One thing is I try not to whinge about it, that's what I'm trying to say, but it's just not right to do that. But, it's part of the territory. For 20 years I've been playing international cricket, I suppose. I bought a lot of stuff on myself. Only the odd thing, Gaz. And all those sort of things. So I'm not whinging about it, just part of the territory. So it comes and goes, and it's water. You get to a stage where you just don't really care. But it got to a stage, I think, this time, where I had to come out and say something and say it's just not right. And I think with the press that all over the world, I think the hardest thing about here in Australia is that you just want people to report the facts. That's all you want. If you do the wrong thing, no, you do whatever you want. But don't distort them. It's not fair to everybody to not read the facts. So here in Australia we have, I think the difference between England and Australia, England, they'll nail you for a day and it's gone. Here in Australia it drags on for weeks and weeks and everyone wants to have their say, the next door neighbour or the dog.
Now,
Sam, whoever else, or the dog and Sam could be the same thing, but Sam.
Yeah, no, it could be.
So I think here in Australia it just drags on. It's very similar, it just drags on for a long time.
Now, we don't want to get personal, Shane, so when are you
You're off
getting...
to a flying start then, Sam.
When are you getting married? Because I only could help you with the vows. Could run you through the ceremony. I've had a couple of shots, 3 or 4 shots at it myself. If there's any hints or tips you need, I could be on hand to advise you. That's if you were planning anything in the immediate future or at all. How is that going?
Well, first of all, there is no plans to get married at this stage. There is no ring on her finger, so that would mean if there was a ring on her finger...
Elizabeth's?
Elizabeth. If there was a ring on Elizabeth's finger, then you could probably suggest that the next step would happen, so that's not there. But the relationship's going very well. She's a lovely lady. My children get along well with her, and we've all hung out a bit, and it's all going really well. Thank you, Sam.
No, mate, people would be disappointed if
the finals are on too, aren't they?
No, we're going through the F words. We have done facelift. We've done fiance. We're going on to football now.
Right.
Football. I have a feeling, Shane, that you preempted Mr. Lyon's departure from St Kilda because you tweeted, is that the word, earlier in the year that he had no idea what he was doing. Did you not?
Well, yes, I did.
Words to that effect.
No, yes, I did. I think as a passionate St Kilda supporter, I know a few of the players down there as well. I suppose I look at all sport, and you look at all sport, you look at your own football club that we all support, and whoever it is great, as long as it's St Kilda. And you look at the way they play the football, and I look at entertainment, and I think, look at our playing group that we've got, and I think it should be a very attacking game of football we should play, and I just think we get a bit too defensive. I look at our skill level sometimes and I say, well, maybe we shouldn't be playing that. What's wrong with attacking and actually winning by 18 goals versus 16 rather than 7 plays 5? I just don't like that brand of football.
Let me not put words in your mouth, Shane, but it would not seem that you're disappointed that he's departed.
I think the only person that's disappointed at this stage in my family would be my son because he barracks for Freo.
He does. And ran through the banner in the last game. He is a passionate Fremantle fan.
There he is. He did that only a couple of weeks ago. And
he loves the Dockers.
Jackson, Matthew Pavlich is his favourite player. You told us, Warne, on the radio at the time, so it must have been a big thrill. I just want to, and I know you love your footy, so I'm going to get back to this. The counter-argument to what you're saying is that they win, and he's got a great winning record, great strike rate, grand finals, and been in 3 grand finals in the last couple of years. So, are you saying you'd rather watch a more attractive side that perhaps aren't as successful, or are you hoping to have both?
Well, I think by being more attacking, they could maybe take the next step. I think with the playing group they've had over a period of time, I think deep down they'll be disappointed they haven't won a flag. And it hasn't been through lack of effort, it hasn't been through lack of trying or preparation or training or anything like that. I think it's maybe just lacking something, and maybe that's aggression that could take them that final hurdle. I think anyone that you're not quite sure about stuff, if you actually attack and you're aggressive about things, if you continue to put the players in that situation, they'll improve. If you play a certain style of footy all the time, and then you have to rely on your big guns. And if your big guns don't fire, you're probably going to lose. So they've done extremely well under him, and I think the cattle they've had, they've gone pretty well. But I think to take that next step, that's just my opinion. But I just think to take that next step if they're aggressive.
Shane.
And now,
Warne,
Well, that's why I'm giving it to you.
no, that's
we've got lots to get through. We just need to bust on from footy for a sec to talk about some very exciting stuff you got coming up in the city of Melbourne, including the remodelling of the Great Mahogany area at the Crown Casino, which is going to have Club 23 involved in it. Now, here you are. This is going to be unbelievable. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, look, I think, Melbourne's such a wonderful city. There's so many huge sporting events here. We've got the Spring Racing Carnival, the Grand Prix, the footy finals, the cricket over the summer, the tennis. There's so many great things in Melbourne. I think when you go around the world, you go to all these different places, there's these really nice lounges and places like that you can go, and I think Melbourne was lacking something like that. So with my friendship with James Packer and Joe Hasham, we've decided to come and build a bar at Club 23. And it's opening up at the end of October, which I think will be great for Melbourne. It's free entry, everyone can come in and spend a great time. It's not going to be more of that, all that sort of stuff. It's more of a lounge where you can go for a nice drink, Sam. A bit of Frank Sinatra might be on the menu. Beautiful food. There might be the odd toasted cheese.
Will there be a sign on the door, no riffraff allowed? Or is it an exclusive club?
Well, it's open to everybody, Sam. If you dress appropriately, I'm sure you'll be allowed.
Drinks cards, Warne, for
there'll
the
be plenty
boys
of drinks cards coming around for the lads. Anytime they want, they'll be welcome.
Hey, Warne, I know the great work you do with the Shane Warne Foundation. I sat on your board there and watched that for 5 or 6 years, and it continues. You've got a new footy banner app.
Yeah.
Now, you can go to the Apple Store and find out more. ShaneWarne.com will tell you more as well. Help fan to create their own original banners in the colours of their favourite team.
Yeah, so it's just a bit of fun. With the finals coming up, people like to put their own remarks on a banner and all those sort of things. You can post it and have some fun with your friends, and all that money will help the Shane Warne Foundation, which raises money for seriously ill and underprivileged children.
It's the App Store too, not the Apple Store.
I noticed today that you tweeted that you got up, had breakfast, and it was a nice day here in Melbourne. Fans around the world must be wanting to know that sort of stuff. You did tweet that, didn't you?
Did you read it?
Oh, someone showed it to me.
Look, the one thing about Twitter, I think some people take it a bit too seriously, Sam. You can actually have some fun with it, and I think it's a good way to interact with your fans and some people and just have a bit of banter on it. You can have some fun. You can be silly stuff. I've been stirring the pot the last few days and been absolutely that mushy. It's not funny throwing it out there just to see some reaction. I give myself a giggle.
You're getting mushy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a big softie, Sam.
Mate, I don't know you that well. I know you pretty well.
Only 20 years, but that's not that well. I don't think so.
Your grip, you're in love. I know you're in love. And nothing wrong with that. It's a distant memory for me, but I know you are. And I think it is incumbent to tell your fans you must be getting seriously close to doing something with that woman.
What would you describe as something, Sam?
Something that you're not already doing is perhaps you must be ready to.
You enjoyed the photo. You asked for a photo.
Mate, I think you and she are probably the preeminent couple in the world at the minute.
What I wanted to ask Shane was, I think Elizabeth's going to come out here over the next however long, but is there any friends for Samuel that she may be able to bring out and just
maybe your mum?
Help him out.
Elizabeth's coming out. She's going to spend some time with the children. She's going to come and help with the Club 23. Maybe we might go to the races. I'm not sure. I've been reported we're going to the races every day, but I haven't had an invitation or I'm not sure we're going to go yet.
Not sure that'll be a worry.
And you took her over to India to launch the Shane Warne Spinners range of clothing and underwear.
Yes.
Just a huge...
The Spinners is going great, and it was nice that she could actually help out. She looks good in underwear.
Oh, jeez. All right. Yeah, now we don't... This might be the end of Samuel. I've got to very, very quickly ask you that the new 2020 competition coming out here, Jim here is the president of the Renegades. Eddie's the president of the Stars, which are the two Melbourne sides. Now, come on, which one are you going to go at? Our man here's just waiting on tender hooks. He wants a commitment, Warne.
The red would look good on you and Elizabeth, I would have thought, Shane.
Look, I think the 2020, I played it for 4 years in India. I love the 2020. It's good fun. I think it's great that the Big Bash is coming here to Melbourne. There's two teams here too. Whether I'm going to play or not, or who for, I'm definitely going to play, I think, a few games, which will be good fun and help out some young players and help bring some...
we want you to play. I mean, that's going to make the whole series. We've got some great names from overseas in here, but Jim wants to know, are you leaning one way or
I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm definitely going to play a few games and have some fun. I think it'd be nice to help the young players out at the group, have a bit of fun at 2020, and we can all get out there and enjoy ourselves.
Fantastic.
If I'm missing from the next segment, Gary, it's because I've got to ease some pressure on the young man. Thank you, Shane, by the way. It's great to see you back in Melbourne. Shane Warne, everyone. Absolute superstar. And to the paparazzi, when Elizabeth does get here, give them some room. Let them get around and see this magnificent city. Now, we are going to take a break because next, we've got the next big final to discuss, and also Harry Kewell, speaking of enormous names, next on the Footy Show.
Winners of the Carlton Draft Pot Air Ballooning Competition. We're all assembled here at Etihad Stadium, and these boys are hoping to kick over that. The Carlton Draft Pot Air Balloon. There's a magnificent prize to be won. Who wants to win 50,000? Yeah! Oh! Nothing for that, for missing the balloon. That was close. Crikey. Here's another one gone. Now, where are you from, George?
Sunny Scotland.
No chance, Georgie. Ah! Out him. Drop. That was a good kick. What's your name?
Tony.
G'day, Tony. What have you done, mate?
Broke it on Saturday.
What, playing footy?
Yeah.
Who with?
Been All Blacks up in the King League.
How'd they go?
Yeah, got done, so we're out now. All over.
Mad Monday?
Yeah, in hospital.
Oh, there's a... Hey! What is happening here? How are you?
Good, mate.
A Smurf. Try and hit the balloon. Here we go. Lucky last. No chance. No chance. Oh, he missed the balloon. Fair dinkum, dopey bastard. Unfortunately, no one can kick the footy over the Carlton Draft Pot tonight, but our good friends at Carlton Draft, especially Alistair here, he's got some good prizes to give away.
Sure do, Bill. Menangatang, Lancaster and Bacchus Marsh. 10 new insurance to your club.
Fantastic. Well done, guys. And what about the other magnificent prize?
That's right, Bill. Tony from Benalla, you've inspired us. You've got a year's supply of Carlton Draft.
Oh, how good is that? Hey, thank you, Alistair. Thank you, Carlton Draft. Who'd like a fruffy?
Welcome back to the Footy Show, magnificent Docklands precinct here in Melbourne. Now, and if you're just joining us and you're not aware of the news, we need to update you on the fact that Mark Harvey earlier this afternoon was sacked by the Fremantle Dockers with a year left on his contract, and less than an hour after we found that out, we heard that Ross Lyon has walked out of the St Kilda Football Club with a year to go on his contract and agreed to a 5-year term to coach the Fremantle Dockers. It has been an extraordinary day in AFL football. As it happened, absolute coincidence, the St Kilda board were meeting today, and we have pictures of Greg Westaway, the president of St Kilda, leaving that board meeting.
Michael, how do you feel about the events today? Sorry, guys, we're not making any comment tonight. Thanks very much. We'll be making statements tomorrow.
Are you disappointed?
Thanks, guys.
Have you been betrayed by Ross?
Thanks, guys. We'll make some statements tomorrow. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time.
All right, we hadn't actually seen that vision before being told it was coming in. That's actually Michael Nettlefold, the CEO of the St Kilda Football Club. So he's obviously got a lot to ponder, as have the board, Gary.
Yeah, fair to say, still in shock are the St Kilda Footy Club. So we'll continue to monitor. Damien Barrett also working the phone. So up to me to introduce an interview he has done with Brian Lake. Now, it's been an intriguing story throughout the course of this year. Couldn't get on the park, and when he did, was carrying some serious injuries and a question mark about his future. Now, this is Brian Lake speaking for the very first time. He talks about those injuries and the enormous battle he had each week to try and get up and play. He also talks about the hurt that he felt from comments made by an assistant coach through the course of the year that questioned his ability to play with injury, and he also leaves his future very much up in the air.
I couldn't train. The only way I could train was take suppositories, which at that stage you train 3-4 times a week. So the night before training I was taking suppository, ended up being about 3 or 4 a week at that stage, and that was up till June. A good 6 months of 3 or 4 just to train, yeah. And that's no doubt why I really struggled with the running and movement, bending over, and combine that with the knee was reasonably tough.
At the time it was decided you'd go back to the VFL, we believe that you wanted to have play no football for that period, that you wanted to do a mini pre-season at that time. Is that right?
I did go in that meeting. It was after the Collingwood game. I went in and did say I wanted to have the 4 weeks off because playing the 4 games I did, the knee just deteriorated so much in that period, and I lost confidence in my body, which then contributed obviously to my form. So, that hurt. Obviously, the only person that knows the body's as good as you do is yourself. So, I knew I needed a break. Going to that meeting, and they said no. Medical advice is to keep playing. So, no doubt that did hurt. In hindsight, you'd probably say the plan that was set, and obviously I brought into it as well, that you could say hasn't worked. I wasn't able to get back on and playing good AFL football.
Your assistant coach, Brett Montgomery, publicly queried your mental toughness and implied that you weren't doing enough to get yourself out of the situation you were in. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, that was tough. That hurt a fair bit. I must admit. Previous to that, I hadn't spoken to Monty about it. He hadn't raised the issue with me, and even after, still now hasn't brought it up. So, no doubt that hurt after going through such a hard time. Every day in the gym for 3 hours doing your rehab for every single injury you got.
Will you be at the Bulldogs in 2012?
Well, I signed on 2 years ago for a 4-year deal, so I'm expecting to fulfil that contract.
Expecting to, or wanting to, or knowing you will?
Well, it's hard. You've got a new coach coming into the club in the coming weeks, so I've got to know what he thinks of myself, if he sees me in the picture longer term.
But as we sit here right now, do you actually know if you will be at the Bulldogs next year?
You can't guarantee anything in football. If the coach comes in and says, we think it's probably better if you move on, so be it. I probably don't see that happening, but you just don't know.
You'll be 30 at the start of the next footy season. Is your body still up to playing footy?
If I'm going to retire, it's going to be because I want to retire. It's not because the body's let me down.
Yeah. And do you think it will be with the Bulldogs?
As I said before, I don't know.
Well done, Brian Lake there, talking to Damien Barrett. And of course, Baz, you have been a teammate of Brian's in the last 3 or 4 years. What do you think that's going to happen there?
Yeah, look, I guess as players we didn't know the full extent, from medical staff to player. We obviously knew there was an issue there, and you could see the way he was running at training and stuff. It was, I was in pain with it, but where it ends up, who knows? As you said, a new coach coming in could be a fresh start for him.
You played on him, Trav, over the journey, I reckon, All Australian only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I played on him numerous times, and obviously I played with him or against him that day that he was talking about there against Collingwood, and he wasn't the same as what he had been previously, but he was still a fantastic competitor that day, and he took me to the full line, and it's just a shame to see him at that stage at the moment.
Andrew, just before we get on with this, players play with injuries all the time, and we aren't aware of it, as Barry, even as a teammate, says that. Should we be more forthcoming in our information so that the supporters are aware where they're at, or is it just once you cross the white line, you've got to play?
Yeah, everyone's different, I suppose. Everyone handles it differently, and some guys can play through a certain amount of pain, but when it gets to a point, where Brian was at, it was probably time to just say, look, I'm hurting, and step back and have a bit of time off.
Well, injuries are a big deal every week, but certainly in finals, and there are some big ones to talk about in this game. West Coast, Carlton, Patterson Stadium, Saturday night. West Coast Eagles, let's have a look at the Coasters for the first time hosting the Blues in a final since 1996. And Kerr, will he play? He's named. Still a big question mark on Daniel Kerr. Cox is the other injured player who is guaranteed of playing, according to John Worsfold. So a couple of real interesting players to look at there as we swing across to Carlton. And Bryce Gibbs is the big one here. Doc Larkins on Triple M as early as yesterday said that do not rule Bryce Gibbs out. He may still play with an AC if they can get a painkiller injection in there. Tui is named at the moment, so lots of intrigue for the Blues, who are undefeated on the road this year and have won 4 of their last 5 at Subi. Trav, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, after seeing West Coast firsthand last week, they were fantastic, and if they bring the same game this weekend, I can't see them losing, really. They're going to be fantastic.
Bryce Gibbs didn't travel today, certainly not. Matthew Cruiser didn't travel as well. They were outstanding, Andrew, last week, the Carlton Footy Club. They'd go over there full of confidence. Are there any chance? They got good form on the road?
Yeah, they're a very good chance. As you said, if Gibbs doesn't play, it'll be a big loss. But, you know, I'm going to have to go with West Coast over there. It's a 6-day break for Carlton too.
Those are the big tall forwards. They, at times... Just timing everything for our man, the semi. Running back in. I'll just get the tip before you tell us what you're going to do. The big 4 forwards might prove a headache over there.
Yeah, look, I think they will. Look, both sides showed a bit last week, but I think West Coast, even though they lost, showed a bit for me. I think they'll win at home.
Your tip, Gary?
West Coast, Jim.
Because we know what's going to happen here. And before we get to what's going to happen here, Mac, I'm going to get your help with this. On the boot, Glen Ferry, midday on Sunday. This is an amazing day. You can see Andrew Mackie and superstars like Luke Hodge and Buddy Franklin, Dane Swan, Jack Revolt. Sam will be there. The Sunday Footy Show team will be there. Ticketmaster.com.au is how you get stuck into this. $22, unlimited rides or a gold coin donation when you turn up. Kids entry's free, and it is a fantastic day, and it all goes to an amazing cause. The On The Boot Family Day, Mac, you're going to be along?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, as you said, it's a great cause, and Margaret and everyone down there who, you know, do so much work for this. It's, as you know, it's raising awareness for childhood cancer. So, as far as charities go, it's right up there. So everyone should get down there.
Footy clinics, rides, face painting, jumping castles, animal farms. You're there, Foss?
Animal farm.
Animal farm.
Animal farm.
And you're going to be along, of course.
I'm going to be there, my wordie.
It is a ripper.
Yep,
It was at Arden Street last year. It's at Glen Ferry this year.
I'll be there straight after Melbourne Victory training.
Yeah. Is it?
My contention is, Gary, that being a goalie in soccer is probably the easiest vocation. No, seriously, how hard would it be with all this stuff on to stop someone kicking a goal?
What we're going to do is find out, because I'm telling you...
They're not allowed to touch it with their hands?
Thank you. There's a man coming out here very, very shortly who arrived at the Melbourne airport during the week, Jim. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking, of course, of Harry Kewell. It was like the Beatles. This is one of the world's very best soccer players, of course, who is coming back to Australia, and in particular coming back to play for the Melbourne Victory, which everyone is excited about. They've got October the 8th penciled into the diary. That's when he's going to take on the Sydney FC at Etihad Stadium. It is a shot in the arm that the A-League needs.
Oh, yes.
And we are absolutely delighted to welcome him onto the Footy Show tonight. Please welcome Harry Kewell. Great excitement for us, Harry. We don't often go outside the sphere of AFL football. We make an exceptional circumstance when an exceptional performer comes in, and that's you. Welcome back to Australia.
Thank you for having me.
You must be delighted. You must be delighted. I mean, you've been all over the world. We are not. I'm not a great soccer man, but I know you've played for some of the big clubs in the world: Liverpool, Leeds United, Galatasaray over in Turkey. You now come back here. It must be a nice way to round out the career.
It is. It's fantastic, and what better place to end it when it's just been voted the most livable city in the world.
Absolutely. Well, Harry, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but our great friend Eddie Maguire on the Hot Breakfast on Triple M, I reckon months ago, said Harry Kewell will come back here and play for the Melbourne team in the A-League, and no one believed it.
Melbourne Victory?
Not everyone just started laughing when he said it. So that's how big a prize it is that no one thought it was ever going to happen. Tell us a bit about how this deal came together.
Well, 3 months ago, I didn't even know I was coming back, so I don't know.
That's how good Ed is.
Look, there was obviously a lot of speculation about me coming back, and there's, again, the papers blow it out of proportion, but people have to understand that the last 3 years I've been away from my family, and I've got a young family, and I missed them. So virtually once I finished my season at Gala, I literally went on a break for 2 months, switched my phone off so no one could really contact me. I just wanted to be with my family. And the decision did take a long time because it's not exactly if I'm moving a couple of hours away from my house. I'm literally moving my family the other side of the world. So it was a decision that me and my wife took on seriously, and eventually we decided that this was the best thing for us to do.
Do we understand how big soccer or football is in Europe and Britain? I know we think AFL's big here. Do we understand how big it is?
I think we're getting there. Obviously, it's a hard task because AFL does run this country. But again, the A-League needs some injection, and hopefully with me and Brett coming back and maybe a few other players come back, maybe it does give that injection that we need. Yes, Europe is, huge. But don't forget, Europe's been going for years on end, and that's the heart and soul of football. But if you can make the A-League a good enough league, you never know, you can just build it up enough that you may be able to attract better players.
Any coincidence that Mark Schwarzer is the best goalie probably in the world and he came up on Australian rules football? Is there any coincidence? Is it that hard to be a goalie? Honestly, they can use their hands, they got gloves, they can run.
Well, they actually say in football the craziest ones are in goal.
Craziest?
The craziest.
Why? Because
some of the boys that can hit the balls, they can hit them up to 100 k's an hour, and
And we're hoping shortly, Harry, that you might just be able to help us out. These boys over here, AFL footballers, who are big names in this town. Now, you speak about Melbourne being one of the most livable cities in the world. It's also the sporting capital of the world, we think. And do they have any bearing on your decision? Because you come back, you train at Amy Park, you share that with the Melbourne Footy Club and the Melbourne Storm. Will that take... I mean, you're a huge star wherever you go, but you're going to share that in Melbourne, there's no question.
When I first walked in there, the facilities is probably the best I've ever seen. And as you say, I've been to some of the biggest clubs in the world.
Really?
And phenomenal.
Is that right?
Absolutely phenomenal. And I couldn't understand. I actually, when I was seeing that, I was just thinking, just imagine if I was here when I was 20. The difference it could have made. And it actually helps football seeing other athletes work out as well. I mean, for example, I just saw the young youth team of Melbourne Storm work in the gym, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's for me to see that was just sensational. And I think the passion here that Melbourne have for sports is second to none, really.
Well, the man sitting next to you has got an encyclopedic knowledge of sporting people and identities. Now, I believe that today, down at the Melbourne driving range, down at the golf range, that Samuel Newman wandered down. Now, tell me if this is true or not. You got your clothes, I've spoken to you about this, Jim, and you got your bucket and you wandered over, and a very suave, handsome man wandered up next to you, and you sort of looked at him and he acknowledged you and said, "G'day, Sam," and you sort of said, "Yeah, g'day," and away you went.
Please tell me this
You
didn't
hit
happen.
balls for 20 minutes, just having a general conversation.
God.
I mean, on his behalf,
Thank you, Harry. Whatever you're going to say, thank you.
He was in a zone. I'd have to say he was in a zone. I mean, the way he was hitting his club and banging that club on the floor after every shot, I didn't really want to disturb him.
Did you not recognise Harry Kewell?
Jim,
This is true.
Jim,
True.
shut up. What happened is Harry came over with a very nice gentleman, and the thing you do when you go down to any club, particularly that club, Jim, is that you let people mind their own business.
Yes.
And I looked at Harry, who is a left-hander incidentally, and hits the ball as good as I've ever seen anyone, and I thought, I reckon I know that man. I thought, because Gary, we have seen, have we not? You weren't there, but we have seen Harry play live in Munich in 2006.
One of the highlights for us.
Was one of the highlights,
One of the
and I
greatest
thought,
trips we've ever been on.
I'm not sure who that is. And I went into the clubhouse after. I said, "Tell me," to Costa. I said, "Costa, is that Harry Kewell out there?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Jesus, please don't tell me it's Harry Kewell," because I just wasn't sure. So I drove out to the first hole. He was playing with a very nice gentleman, and I said, "Harry, I am so sorry. I wasn't sure if it was you or not, and I didn't want to interrupt you, and nothing worse than people
it's
annoying people."
long-winded way of saying you made a tool of yourself.
Yeah.
And Harry,
I
do you recognise Samuel, by the way?
Nah, come on.
Again, it is a club that's very private, and
Thank you, Harry.
You let people be themselves, as you say.
I apologise.
But you did know him.
He did not
So
know him.
Harry knew you and you didn't know Harry.
But that is not right.
That is
Gary.
right. He just told us.
Shame on you. Now, your beautiful wife Cherie is pregnant with number 4.
Yes.
So, and you're now going to be obviously living here in Melbourne. Sam's got about 15 houses. If you want to find somewhere to live, the Foss might be able to look after you. You got something?
I'll move out immediately. You can take over the joint I'm living in. I'll move in with you, Jim.
Worked out where you're going to live, Harry. We don't want to know, but just Bayside.
Look, again, every time I'm driving around Melbourne, there's lovely places. So everyone's given me some nice areas to look at. So I will do.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to get Samuel, who's not dressed up like that for any other reason that we want you to drill one through his crusty old face. So, Samuel, you want to go over the nets.
I've got a box on.
As you go over there, off you go. As you go.
Seriously, how hard is it?
Really hard.
You're about to find out.
Shit, it's hard.
But also, looking at Harry, very sharp dresser, Jim. We are Soho workshop operators, but the politics deal continues to go along.
I think we're going to
certainly does. I mean, again,
you stand off.
Shut up, Sam.
Yeah, this is a modelling shoot.
Yes, this was in last Christmas in LA. It was scheduled actually the day before that, and it was raining. So we got there the next day, and it was absolutely stunning. And again, politics is fantastic. I mean, the clothes are sensational, and they're the clothes I wear really because they just fit me great.
I think we might have a photo, do we, Gary, as well? There we are. Reasonable rig.
Reasonable. Hey, Cherie was also, she did some acting. Is she going to go down that path as well?
At the moment, she's just going to come over here, and obviously we've got the baby coming along, so she's going to be looking after the baby and just being a mother to the kids.
A little bit of underbelly razor or something, maybe? Or
you never know.
Hey, come over with me, Harry. We're going to go and drill a couple. I reckon the
Please
boys...
make sure you do, Harry.
Now, we really want you to put one through him. He's got the runners on.
In a way.
Haven't got the best pair, but there he is. Now, I'll get out of the road. I'm going to get the boys here to try as well, so I've got plenty of balls. Samuel, you reckon...
You're going to kick it from there, are you?
Where do you want it?
You're going to kick it from there.
Where do you want him to kick it?
Well, shit, how far... Isn't it meant to be
That's the distance.
Well,
that is the distance of a penalty shootout.
Is it?
Yes. Beg your pardon? They are small goals, so yeah, this is even harder for the kicker. So I'm going to get the boys as well. They're going to have a crack in a minute. But God help me, Harry, if you could hurt him, that would be great for us. Rightio, Ford.
Hang on just a minute. Right.
Sam's doing visual jokes, Jim.
Oh, look at this stuff.
Rightio.
Look how crisp this is.
Now, we would really like it, so just stand back. Anytime, Harry, just drill one through him.
Oh, no!
That's one.
He didn't even move.
You ran backwards. Righto, Bazza.
Shit.
You're allowed to move, Fossil.
What was that?
None from one. Here. Get up there. Stand up like a man. You reckon it was the easiest job in sport.
Pile one into him.
Don't do it. Oh.
Looking after you.
Not sure Mac absolutely drilled it.
No. Come on, Clokey.
Oh. Righto, Harry. One more, please. One more. Righto, this is it, Samuel. This is for the World Cup. Of which Harry's been...
Just a minute, my microphone's come out. Just a minute,
Harry.
Hang on just a minute.
I'll talk to Harry. You be quiet. Another World Cup. You've been to 2. One more.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yep. As long as I perform well enough and the manager picks me.
All right. This is it. This is for the title.
Come on, Fossil. Just a farce.
You're a coward.
Absolute screaming joke.
Just one more, Harry. One more. I bet
One more.
Promise you. Righto, one more. Righto, this is it.
That's embarrassing, the champion.
Mate, I've been fooling around.
Hang on, let me get out of the road. Righto, this is it. Now really concentrate.
I'm going to cut it.
Righto.
Oh,
Jesus. All right.
Fair income embarrassing.
Oh, here we go.
All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you very much to Harry Kewell, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me, mate.
When we come back, we're going to be joined by Dermot Brereton and Chris Lewis. Plenty more on the Footy Show.
Welcome back to Footy Show. Thanks to Crazy Johns and the Nissan Bar continue to give us wonderful support. Now, this Sunday at 12 o'clock, the third in the series, the final story. Been looking back at some of the great grand finals over the past 40 years. And this weekend, it's time to focus on the 1991 grand final between the Hawthorn Footy Club and the West Coast Eagles. Topical, of course, the Eagles in the hunt again this season. It was the first grand final at Waverley Park, good first and last in actual fact. It was the first grand final for the West Coast Eagles, and while the battle that was playing out on the ground was an intriguing story, there was another more personal battle taking place between a couple of very significant players who we'll talk to in a moment. But before we do, let's take a look at what you're going to see Sunday.
There's a fight on in mid-square. St Jenkins in the centre square this is going on. And Brereton's also getting involved with McKenna and Mainwaring. Chris Lewis getting heavily involved with Ray Jenke.
Back in those days, racial vilification. Gee, I don't think the two words had ever been used together. So we went and gave it to Chris Lewis. And I reckon that boiled over.
Oh, look, it cut pretty deep. Yeah. Like I said, I was only a young boy trying to go and do what I did best, and I'd never really experienced any of that sort of stuff until I played AFL.
Chris Lewis's greatest strength was his ability to cope with that type of pressure, which was the norm in those days.
Absolutely disgraceful. I don't think errors have anything to do with it.
Black Sea and all this sort of stuff. The crowd were quite vocal in that sort of area, which was always a bit upsetting.
Only now in this day and age do we understand what we've done. I've apologised to Chris Lewis since. Pretty dark sort of memory of it, and something that I'm not proud of.
If Dermy needs to come out and say that to make himself feel better, well, good on him. Probably a recognition and an admission of a bloke that's fair dinkum about understanding what he may have done in the past and trying to right a wrong.
Chris was reported on a couple of occasions. In my mind, I have no doubt that he was vilified.
After getting suspended and not being able to play because of retaliating and all that sort of stuff, you just sort of learn to put up with it.
We accepted it, and we've got a lot to pay for that, as a nation, as a league, and as individuals.
We was a little bit disappointed that we probably didn't, as a club, push the issue a bit further, but I think it was one of those areas that we all didn't want to go to because it was a bit prickly.
Football wore him down, and from a young man, when I first went to that football club with a beautiful big smile, that become more and more tested through his career, and more the shame.
We look back now and sort of wonder, well, how did that happen? Just thank God we've improved as a sport.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. Very sensitive issues to deal with out of that game, and issues that continue to raise their head in our game, which is one of the reasons we've been fortunate to get two of the gentlemen involved in that particular story on the program tonight. Please welcome Chris Lewis and also Dermot Brereton. Welcome, boys. Dermot, I'm going to get to you shortly. Intimately involved, and I also don't want to excuse myself from this topic either, because I was also involved in a similar situation with Chris, and I've written about and spoken about previously, and understand exactly what he was going through now, having spoken to him over the journey. It is a really sensitive issue, and I guess, Louis, it's great to have you here, and we applaud you for coming on, because as much as we continue to educate people and as much as we continue to talk about it, these things still continue in the game today. And we've had issues this year with Lance Franklin and Majak Dor, and even at the weekend, Nick Naitanui abused from over the fence. So the really interesting thing out of that for me was Mick Malthouse said, and I'm reading this, you came into the game as a happy-go-lucky young man, but you left as something completely different. The racial taunts you suffered must have had a major impact on your footy career, and that's why we're here today. Tell us about that experience.
Look, he's probably right to a certain extent. As just a young fella growing up, all you want to do is play footy, and look, I'd never come across any of that sort of stuff until I'd played VFL back then. So it was an interesting learning curve, and certainly there was situations and times where your focus was taken off the thing that you love the most, and probably what you like to think that you're good at. So, yeah, it was an interesting time. But look, we sort of battled through that, and obviously the things that are put in place these days have help young blokes come through with a bit of a easier transition.
Well, Louis, I think Mick's words were with a beautiful big smile. I knew you when you had a beautiful big smile because, of course, my dad played with your dad for Claremont, and then you played a lot of football with my brother for Claremont. The Lewis family has a huge heritage of amazing football in the West. You said you didn't experience it to the VFL. Is that because in the Waffle, the Aboriginality of the game over there had been really prevalent for 50, 60 years, and whereas in the VFL, we got the great Michael Long in the audience, it's not till more recent times that we've seen so many of the magnificent Aboriginal footballers.
Yeah, look, that probably could be the case, and look, some of the blokes that changed the game, Farmer and Cable were in that league, so there was, I suppose WA footy was a little bit more, used to seeing Indigenous fellas running around, but look, I dare say that it probably didn't happen on the track over there as well. But like you said, it was a bit of a learning phase, and I'd like to think that the powers to be in the game and people who are involved with football clubs are a little bit more wiser and a little bit more prone to doing the right thing, which is pretty important.
Now, Dermot, I know you very well, and I know you are genuinely remorseful for that era. Was it a case just then of winning at all costs and any rules went and we've learnt and moved on, or what stimulated or motivated you to do that? I would suggest just the fact that it might have been gamesmanship.
Well, there was a fair bit of gamesmanship in it. We went into that game and Chris Lewis was our number one target that we thought was the real impetus as a team. He was a fantastic player, an extraordinary player. I won't mention the team, but we got word from a team that Louis had been put off his game by taunts, racial based, and so we thought anything to try and curb this bloke's brilliance. So myself, some other people, and when he crossed paths, you'd say something to him. Footy, on the other hand, footy's been fantastic for this nation, whereby everybody runs onto the field equal, and now through understanding racism and bringing to a wider scope just the damage that it does, I'm incredibly well educated on it now. I wasn't then. Unfortunately, our era was the one that went through and we're still committing those crimes of those verbal crimes. So we're much better educated now, and I've said it to Chris before, and I've said it publicly. I profusely apologise for what we did in those days.
At what stage, Dan? The game was in 1991. When did you? Did a penny drop, if for want of a better term? And at what stage did you then? And how did you go about seeking Chris?
Well, we always knew that it was going to be hurtful. I mean, that's what you do because you think it's going to put a champion like this off his game. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. If it's not going to have any impact, you're not going to be doing it. So, to the extent that it hits home, we didn't understand. In the years thereafter, it became. We got better education, I suppose. I just saw Longy I played with a great mate, Damien Monkhurst, when I went to Collingwood, and there's not a racist bone in his body. And what he said was racist, and he is of the same opinion as me. He was as well educated going into that era as any of us, or as poorly educated. And he came out of that era very well educated on it, and as I say, footy's been very good for all of us that we've actually taken the steps to actually learn that education.
So, Louis, this is what interests me because Gary mentioned before about the instances we've seen this year, with Buddy Franklin down in Launceston, Majak Dor at our club in a VFL game, Nick Naitanui on the weekend. We saw a player for the Gold Coast have to go through it on the field and a player be suspended for 4 weeks on the back of it. At the time, we all thought that, that's why the great Michael Long and Nicky Winmar and Jimmy Cracker and, the real blokes that bore the brunt of this did so that none of this rubbish should happen anymore? Are we strong enough on it? Is the message clear enough right now?
Oh, look, I think probably in the last 4 or 5 years it's sort of been sort of not in the public eye or in the media's eye, and it's probably this year it's sort of reared its head again. So, it's a continual sort of education progress that and all the people involved with footy and in a position of power need to keep reinstating to their players or their supporters. It's probably a bit harder to do those things with your supporters, but look, you're at a ground with 90,000 people, and if some yobbo wants to say something to that effect, surely the person next door needs to be able to stand up and say, look, mate, you need to just settle down, or watch what you're saying. So, there's there'll be a guy that'll pay his 300th game on Friday night. That's just an ornament to the game, and he's a dual Brownlow medalist. And we need to look at those positive things, what Indigenous players and people have done in the past, like Longy and every other person who's played AFL, VFL footy, or even just in general public. So, and look, at the end of the day, the one thing we all do have in common is footy. So, and it does have a strong effect, because it's not just putting people off their games. It's about the social structure of a town or a community or society. A young person may take the wrong way, and could be a lot more than losing the game of footy. It could end up in losing it, loss of life. So
have you been a mentor to any of the current players? Have you spoken to someone Nat Nui?
No, I haven't. He's too tall for me to talk to.
Would you feel embarrassed speaking to him, or you just let them work it out themselves? Look,
one of the fortunate things I did in the last 5 or 6 years was have a little bit to do with young Jeff Garlett, Jamie Burnell and young Jeddah, coming through the Swan Districts Footy Club, and we sort of spoke about a few of those things. But look, to see those guys get in the position where they are and not have to put up with the things that past players may have had to put up with is good. And look, we just need to keep, I think Harry said something about education and just making it aware and just being fair dinkum about it. And look, it's a great game of footy. Why spoil it?
Hey, never truer word spoken. Derm and Louis, we appreciate you both coming in. As we said, it plays itself out, and it's a big part of this story that's on Sunday. And look, a lot of people at home will be watching this, lots of people watching this, and you probably think, oh, well, it's aimed at the Nat Nuis of the world and the Mad Jackdaws and all these elite players, and that is absolutely right. We need to be really vigilant, but this is played out every Saturday afternoon all around the country at different levels, whether it be in the outback or whether it be country Victoria or junior level, whatever the case may be. And unashamedly, that's why you guys are on, and we need to be vigilant, and we need to continue to work really hard at it. And it's not us trying to be wholly and moralistic. It's about what's right, fundamentally what is right. And as I said, I put my hand high in the air. I was like Dermot, and a lot of our players of our era were the same, and hopefully we're better educated and we're better for the whole process. So none of these people deserve to be vilified. That is the bottom line. And all levels of the game, community in general, it's got to be stopped, and we've got to do our bit to force some change, and we can do it. Let's not put it off any longer. So we appreciate you guys for coming in. Chris Lewis and Dermot Brereton, two of the greats of AFL footy, no doubt about it. We're going to take a break. Back with more of the Footy Show after this.
Time for Almost Football Legends. And I got to confess, Gaz, I didn't realise he was such a big sucker.
Handsome man.
Because I'm a big man. Levington, Cole, Rutherglen here, and there's a bit of a falcon. Have a look at it go bouncing off his head. Here we go, bang! Number 9, thank you very much.
Here we got the old Blackburn versus Ferntree Gully, and we see here the young fella. He trips over, mate, on his 100th game, so he's tripped over there.
Oh, beautiful. They've got a social match here. Gamblers 7 versus Newman 7, so 7 aside. Have a look at Rocky miss an absolute soda here. Come on, Rock. You got the Joe the Goose, and bang! No! Missed it from about 2 metres out. We're even going to replay it for you, Rock, just so that you can get the tape rolling at home. All right, there we go. What do we like here? We do this by crowd appreciation, Mac. Do we like number 1, the Falcon? No. Do we like Max, number 2, through the banner? What about the soda in the square? Oh, Mac, it's all yours. Here we go. It is. Who?
We got Noel Bellis from Blackburn, Victoria, mate.
There you go, Nolly boy. You win this.
Thanks to Home Timber and Hardware, our weekly winner takes home $1,000, while our 2 runners-up receive $500 gift cards to spend at Home Timber and Hardware, the proper hardware store. At the end of the year, our runner-up pockets $20,000 cash thanks to Deep Heat. With a smell of victory, Deep Heat provides fast, temporary relief from muscle aches and strains. Deep Heat, the stuff of legends. While our major prize winner drives away in the new Nissan Navara STX 550 with a powerful 170 kilowatt V6 turbo diesel engine, 3,000 kilogram brake towing capacity, 7-speed automatic transmission, 6 airbags and vehicle dynamic control, the Nissan Navara STX 550 is Australia's most powerful tradie.
All right, this is how you get stuck into it. Almost Football Legends, GPO Box 9, Melbourne 3001. You have not got long to go, and that is the best prize in football. Don't worry about that. Footyshow.com.au to upload your video if you want to go about it that way. As I said, time is running out. Now, Gary, just before we throw back to you, we need to say that we saw this man earlier, Michael Long, ladies and gentlemen, the great man. Norm Smith-Weddle winning premiership superstar. Now, Longy, we saw you how long? A month or so ago?
About 10 weeks.
Okay, and the goal at that stage was to lose 10 kilos, so a kilo a week.
Yeah.
Now, you can tell us that you've lost how much?
We're up to 17 kilos.
17 kilos! So just a tick under 20, Jen for men. So how do you go about it? This is obviously Jenny Craig.
Oh, look, it was really just a great support from the people at Jenny Craig and the coaching along the way. I must thank Amy Smith and her crew, Adele, and obviously Jess Frawley, who the support you get along the way. And obviously it's been the food and Jen for Men, trying to promote that. The food has really been making the healthy choices, Jane, but that's really what it's about.
17 kilos in 10 weeks. You're an absolute star. Great to see Louis looking so good too, wasn't it?
It is. We'll get him on it as well. But it is great to see Chrissy.
Hey, Longy, you're a star. Well done. Great to see you any time on the Footy Show. Gaz, take it away.
Always welcome, Michael Long. No question about that. Now, what's your name?
Eddie Stupid. What about Stupid?
September the 25th is celebrities, AFL footy players heading to the Crown Poker Room for the annual E.J. Whitten Charity Poker Tournament. We have the E.J. Whitten footy match, of course. This is now the poker tournament. Raise awareness for men's prostate cancer, of course. This event's been going on.
Sorry, Gary, I just walked into your shot. I didn't mean to do that.
It's become one of Melbourne's most high-profile fundraising events. So if you want to be a part of it, secure a spot at crownpoker.com.au. If you like to have a bit of a flutter, get down there. Players, celebrities, what?
Fev be allowed in?
Not sure.
Well, for a charity, be allowed in.
For charity. The Twitter world's gone nuts, of course, about the whole Ross line and also Mark Harvey, all the St Kilda players. Jason Graham, not sure what to say. I'm in shock. Didn't see it coming after yesterday. Sam Fisher simply tweeted, sheesh. With
was that exactly what he said?
That expression on his face.
Really?
So that will continue to unfold. A massive day tomorrow, and of course, the big final. What? Yes.
Someone's drawn my attention to this. If Geelong can't play the Gold Coast or Carlton in the grand final, the West Coast. Sorry, pardon me.
That's right.
And Collingwood can't play the Swans or Hawthorn in the grand final.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yes, they're all sort of, you can divide them into two groups of three.
Yeah, so if you're worrying about, if the Cats are worried about the Gold Coast or Carlton...
West Coast?
Yeah, the West Coast as well, they can't play them.
Tell you what, it's getting very late for Sam, so we'll take a break, see if we can keep him up.
One of those soccer balls has knocked
him
around.
in the melon. And wrap up the Footy Show after this.
Incidentally.
Footy Show. What I want to do is thank the panel who, for reasons that were obvious, as such a busy night, didn't have a massive role to play, but what they did magnificently. Travis Cloak, Andrew Mackie and Barry Hall, good on you boys, appreciate it. Good luck to you boys too, going forward. And Samuel.
Yeah, I'm willing, Gary.
Really we need to do this.
No, I'm willing to take bids on this. This is for prostate cancer. If anyone wants to put a bid in for that, that's just been in there protecting me when Harry was drilling me.
Big game tomorrow.
That wasn't green until he put it in.
Sydney, Auckland, West Coast, Carlton. Hope your team wins. We'll see you next Thursday night. Good night.